One uploader caught video of this man taking a hammer to Christopher Columbus's statue.
I'm a little confused about our city and why it's Indigenous Peoples Day / Columbus Day. Columbus?
Meanwhile, in the States, San Antonio Spurs head coach Gregg Popovich went off on our own hypocrisies.
Look like a heavy thing. Piece of history right there. Piece of history gone right there.
Low. I mean, he initiated a New World genocide. That's what he did. And beginning with him and what he set in motion and what followed meant the annihilation of every indigenous person in Hispaniola, which was Haiti and the Dominican Republic today. That's what he did. He took slaves, he mutilated, he murdered. They're gonna say slash and honor him. Well, I gotta give the San Antonio Independent School District a little bit of credit because at least they added Indigenous Peoples Day along with it. And that's a step in the right direction. But what the hell is Alamo Heights thinking? It's Columbus Day. That's why they're off on Monday? Maybe there's something I'm missing and I'm ignorant. But it makes me feel like they're living in a phone booth and they're educating our kids. Columbus Day, and we're going to honor that. And it's no knock on Italian Americans. That's a silly argument.
He was preaching in this presser. That took place in 2021, yet still remains prevalent because a portion of Americans simply do not evolve with the facts of the case. They continually cling to what they were taught decades ago and do not care to even entertain what actually transpired.
The point with Columbus is that he was one of the primary men, to bring civilization to this side of the globe.
This side of the political spectrum, who do not consider those who were already in the Americas as human, continue to wash away the history, or at least they try. VOA News wrote, "It is commonly said that Columbus discovered America. It would be more accurate, perhaps, to say that he introduced the Americas to Western Europe during his 4 voyages to the region between 1492 and 1502. It's also safe to say that he paved the way for the massive influx of Western Europeans that would ultimately form several new nations, including the US, Canada, and Mexico. Up until the 1970s, these first Americans had a name, the Clovis peoples. They get their names from an ancient settlement discovered near Clovis, New Mexico, dated to over 11,000 years ago. And DNA suggests they are the direct ancestors of nearly 80% of all indigenous people in the Americas. Read that next line again. Author Russell Freedom, who wrote Who Was First? Discovering the Americas, spoke with NPR and said Vikings predate Columbus. There is no question about it, he said. So if it was so wonderful, why didn't the Vikings stay longer? NPR asked. The Indians didn't want them to stay. The first encounter was when the Vikings came across 10 Indians taking naps under their overturned canoes, and the Vikings killed them. That did not set up a very good mutual relationship. There were some attempts at trading, but the Vikings felt quite menaced and outnumbered, and the Indians did not appreciate their presence. The Vikings did return to North America, but only for trading. They never settled again. Orrin Lyons, traditional chief of the Onondaga Nation, an associate professor of American Studies at the State University of New York, Buffalo, told the Associated Press, "We know for certain what came over," he said. 2 edicts, the Papal Bull of 1452, which said to enslave all Saracens and pagans, and the Papal Bull of 1493, which said to bring in all pagan nations and peoples to the Christian faith and their property. And that's been done. The Indians were robbed of most of their land. Their culture was nearly destroyed. And today, 500 years later, they are among the poorest Americans, he said. To pretend That America's intellectual tapestry is woven only from European threads is a colossal myth. Donald A. Grind, who teaches history at California Polytech, said in the essay he wrote for the book, rather, U.S. political tradition is a unique amalgam that remains incomplete without an awareness of our American Indian roots. The history via the Washington Post is the following. The first Columbus Day celebration recorded in the U.S. was in New York on October 12, 1792, held to honor Italian-American heritage. President Franklin Delano Roosevelt in 1937 proclaimed October 12th to be Columbus Day, a national holiday. In 1971, the holiday date was changed to the second Monday in October.